Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the JFree906 podcast and the Secret of Skinwalker Ranch series. Hey, long time no see. We got Shannon and Seth in the house. How you guys doing tonight?
Doing well, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing very well. So yeah, I tell you, I got to make a new intro for the show. Man, that one's getting old, but I love the part about it. And this is something that I'm going to probably talk about a little bit tonight, but I love the part about it. And when I have the little clip of the time machine movie, that movie, The Time Machine, the old one, because I love that movie. And the more we dig into what's going on at Skinwalker Ranch and some of these other places, other ranches and places around the world, we're finding that time has a lot to do with what's going on. When we lost a quarter second, or they lost a quarter second, with the balloon experiment going up with long. Oh shoot, I'm at
Lunasan.
Lunasan. Thank you.
Lunasan.
Lunasan.
Jeremiah Pate, I think is his name.
Yes. Yeah. So really, really cool stuff there. I mean, so time is very important in all of this thing. So, I mean, and that's what the GPS works on is time.
Mm-hmm.
And, I don't know. I've been waiting for this show for this particular episode since it aired.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh.
This is one of my favorite episodes of all 4 seasons.
Yes.
We're in the 4th season. Like this ranks right up there with the rabbi episode to me.
Yes.
I'm really fascinated with the stuff that's happened in this episode, particularly.
Yeah.
Very,
very
very
cool. I got to show you something too. Before we go too much further, I got to show this. I know you were getting ready to say something, Seth, and I cut you off there, but I got to show this real fast, just simply because it's so cool. They just sent it to me. So here we go. I'm gonna show this. Let's see if I can do this here. This. Oh, you can't hear it, can you? Hold on. Oh, I got to change it over to here. There we go. Let's try that again. Maybe you can hear it now.
Unlock the secrets of Skinwalker Ranch with insider access. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes content, deep dives into experiments, live chats with the team, and 24/7 live access. Join now for a free 7-day trial.
All right.
Very cool seeing your name on there.
Yes.
Very cool.
Yeah, we talk a lot about that, folks. And if you don't like it, I'm sorry, but I do talk a lot about being an insider here. Shannon is a moderator there. Seth is a member of it, just like I am. And we love being insiders. And that is it's the Skinwalker Ranch Insiders program. It does cost, like you saw, it has a 7-day free trial. But you're going to get sucked into it pretty quickly. If you like this show, you're going to get sucked into it. And again, last night, was it? Yeah, Thursday night. This week is a blur.
It really is. It really, really is. This week is a total blur.
They had a Q&A again last night, and all the guys were there. I mean, it started off with Thomas, and he was by himself running it solo for a while. Last week, it was Brandon for a while by himself. And then finally the guys, because they're filming right now. So, we think they are, right? Yeah. Yes, we think they are filming season 5, but we don't know for sure because I've not seen cameras. But anyway, so they were real busy, and so the guys finally showed up toward the end of it, or halfway through, or something like that. The rest of the guys, but Thomas did a fantastic job by himself, did he not? I mean,
always.
Yeah, and I mean the dedication, because I think he said he was on vacation in Florida with his family, and he still stepped away and made sure that somebody was there. They're so good to insiders and like making sure that that we keep getting
we're not left
feedback
out.
And content. Exactly. Like we didn't even have an episode this week. They could have canceled it if they wanted to. We weren't even expecting it. Actually, most people were confused that we were having it. Pleasantly surprised after the confusion. So yeah, it's very, very cool.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I've seen Thomas, like y'all were saying, on vacation. He's reported in from, I think, an airport. I saw him in an airport on the Q&A. So even when they're out and about, they're still checking in. And you guys were talking about the Insider program. You do get a little booklet. I don't want to give too much away, but for the people who watch the show, inside the booklet, there's a photograph that Jeff and Jim are in.
Look at that. I know. Isn't that something?
From last year's Phenomenon.
Yeah,
so
I
that's
can't believe
pretty
I'm in that
cool.
picture.
But Jeff,
Cool.
Jeff and Jim are in the booklet you get when you become an insider.
Very, very cool.
Yeah, I remember opening mine up and being like, holy cow, there's Jeff.
Your face is being mailed all over the globe.
All over the globe, but people don't know. Look at who's that funny looking dude on the left side over there. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Oh, Jim didn't know?
Yeah, Jim.
He didn't know?
Well,
Surprise, Jim. You're also being mailed all over the globe.
Yeah, there's a photo.
And I think Roger's in there too.
He is. Yeah. He's on the end.
There. Yeah, there's Roger right there.
Sorry, I don't want to give.
Matter of fact, it's us three with the team.
That's so awesome.
Right. It is. That was so cool.
So cool.
Yeah, that was at one of the VIP events or something like that. Yeah, Jim is famous. All right. Yes, he is. All right. So, I mean, like I was saying, this episode was so cool. And I know it's not, according to what we've heard as being an insider, and you hear them talk about it, this is not the best one yet that they feel. They feel we got a couple more that we're going to knock your socks off. I was going to say what Pete Kelsey says, but I won't say that, but about your socks, but I'll say knock your socks off. But yeah, so I can't wait. So we're going to just jump right into it, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So if you like the content of our show, give us a thumbs up, folks. I mean, the thumbs up really helps in the algorithms for YouTube. We really like that a lot. Give us a thumbs up like that. And if they had 2 thumbs up, I wish we could do that. But don't.
Yeah.
And also, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. I mean, it tells you, if you click on the notification bell, it tells you right away when we go live with something new. And you're going to want to be here for next Monday night, because this lovely lady right up here in the top right corner, Shannon DeSalvo, is going to be here along with Michelle Stratton. And we're going to have an Insider's Insights on Monday night, 7:30. Michelle Stratton and Shannon. So I can't wait. That's going to be a really good show.
I'm so excited.
I am too.
We're just going to let Michelle talk.
She said she's going to let you talk.
I'm just going to be, what?
That's what she told me.
No. I know she's watching.
Yeah. So so it's going to be a fun show. We're going to have a lot of fun with that one. I tell you what, I'm just going to have myself a glass of wine and Linda said she sent out 2,500 invitations for Monday already.
Wow.
I can't believe her finger's going to fall right off from all that clicking. I appreciate that very much. So I do, Linda. I do. Linda's helping out with the chat tonight. So when you see that name pop up that looks like it's me typing while I'm talking, it's not. It's Linda, and it just comes up with my name. I don't know why, but it does. So, all right. Yeah, cool. Michelle and Linda. And Shannon. That's what B. Jones is saying. A little shaky about that, huh? You'll be fine. Just have a little wine, and we'll have a good time. If you so like. And also, partway through the show tonight, we're going to be doing this giveaway. We do have another Skinwalker Ranch related type giveaway, and that is this right here. You're going to get 2 of them.
Cool.
I guess
those are cool.
Yeah, alien coaster.
I want those.
I know they got like a cork back on them or something, don't they, Linda?
Those are super cool.
Yes. Yeah, they got like a cork back on them, and then they. So you don't want to use a drink that's going to stain, because you don't want to stain the alien face. So just make sure it's a non-staining liquid of some sort. But yeah, so that's cool. So that's what we're going to give away tonight. And for that giveaway, you have to, I'll explain it when we get ready to do it. I'll explain it then. But that's what the giveaway is for tonight. So, yeah. All right. What did it say? Y'all don't want me to have a glass of wine.
That's exactly why we want you to have a glass of wine.
Yeah. Loosen her up a little bit. Did I just do that? Yeah, I did. Never.
It was nice.
I did that. All right. I'm going to have to go back and edit that out. All right. Okay, so let's jump into it. Skinwalker Ranch, The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch, episode number 10 of season 4, A Frequency Occurrence. I think they're trying to work on a frequent occurrence there, but yeah, Another good name for another good show. And this one is really cool because of the fact that they talk so much about frequency, whether it be frequencies of the 1.6, 1.7 gigahertz, or whether it be sound frequency.
Mm-hmm.
So many different types of frequency that are happening. And this is really going to be an exciting. I can't wait to get the rest of this season. Okay, so as they start off in this particular episode, we see them up on top of the mesa where you know that Joe is up there working very hard, or at least he was working very hard up there with his portable drill rig. Kate, thank you so much. You're welcome. Thank you for the show. Thank you much, Kate, for that. I appreciate it. That's how you can also help the show by doing a super chat or something like that. It really helps out a lot. Thank you. So the guys are climbing all the way up there so they can come and see what's going on. And there's Joe, Joe Loeb, and he is been working this thing. Now, when they first talked about him coming up here, in normal circumstances, out doing some kind of a normal drill, he said he would get about a foot per hour, and they knew they had to get down about 40 feet. So we're thinking, okay, 40 hours. So maybe a week, give him a week and he'll have it all done.
Yeah.
Not so fast. Yeah, the digging has been, or the drilling has been a lot harder than what they had anticipated. And we saw him at one point last week, and last week's show, we saw him actually hanging on this thing to add more weight to it to try to get it to drill a little bit faster. So,
yeah, I wonder what the end rate was, because he got 25 feet. Like, I wonder how off he was on his guesstimate of a foot per hour.
Right. If they were down on the mesa in the field, drilling down there in the field for a well or something, I could see that. But going through this hard, limestone, rock, and everything else that's there, and what are they hitting? What are they hitting that's stopping it from going down? I mean,
that's such tough work too. Like this is in the middle of July or August because they film. I mean, I would assume I know that they film generally during the summer, a little bit into the fall.
Yep.
But I imagine it. It's tough work and in the heat. I also wonder how that affects equipment as well in terms of the earth is a lot different in the summer than it is during the winter based on rain and moisture and all of that stuff. And then you got the equipment and the heat too.
Yeah.
So,
and they had to keep pumping water up to it as well the whole time. I imagine.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
It has to pump water up. So yeah, and there's a pump on that as well as it running the rig, and it does get very hot out there. I mean, when I was at Phenomenon last year, which was the second weekend of September, it was hot during the day. It's super hot. I mean, it was people talk about a dry heat. Dry heat does make a difference, but it was still very, very hot during the day.
Oh yeah, especially out in the sun doing any type of work.
Up the mesa. Yeah.
Literally just breathing in the heat is difficult sometimes.
Well, that's what the engine on this thing figured out. They got about 24 feet down, they hit something very hard and it started to chatter. The drill bit started to chatter, like we saw them when they were drilling into the mesa from the hot shot drills, coming in from this underneath, coming in the bottom of the mesa. They hit something hard, started chattering real bad, and they couldn't go any further. Here they got to about 25 feet. The engine locked up and died. Joe said it had seized up, actually. So they ended up extracting the drill bit out of the ground like they did with the hot shot one, and they took a look at it, and it was just fine.
While I was watching that scene play out, as it starts to be like, oh, we're gonna have to pull it up, I remember looking at my husband and being like, if this doesn't have major wear and tear to it, I'm gonna lose it, because how has it been going through? I mean, obviously the normal wear and tear, but how is it hitting whatever it's hitting, or locking up and it not looking like it's been?
Worn right.
I think about what I do to a drill bit. Just a small one up against something maybe I shouldn't be trying to drill, and it gets destroyed. Not destroyed, but you can tell that it's hit something.
Yeah, definitely. I've snapped
I
them
don't
off
know.
before, drill bits and stuff like that. But yeah, I know
Yeah,
exactly what you mean
that's
because they overheat.
wild.
They overheat. They'll and the tip will get all you know, burnt from the heat. It'll actually change the texture or the color of the metal and all kinds of things. And the teeth will get all worn down. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's
and we've never seen any of that ever with all the trouble they have.
right.
Yeah, it's really interesting because I think going through 25 feet, it shows the quality of equipment that they're using for it to not have that like very obvious
Right.
sort of like it's clearly made to do what it's doing. So the
Right.
fact that it's hitting something and then not, I don't know.
Progress, yeah.
I mean, this is not obviously my expertise, but it is wild to think about just in general when you compare it to other just like natural drilling things.
Yeah, exactly. Michelle said it wasn't a heavy duty one, but it was the best they could get with the time that they had. Exactly right. Yep.
Yeah.
And you know, they talked about the 40 foot. They said 40 foot down is where they needed to go. But that was a guesstimate based upon this right here. And you know, it shows that the major part of the anomaly was 40 feet down. We don't know that for an absolute fact. It could have been, you know, because they got down about 24, 25 feet and they hit something. So, you know, could they have been off a little bit? I think they could have. I mean, I know they know what they're doing, and believe me, there's so much of the analysis of all this stuff that these guys go through that we don't see on the TV show because it gets left on the editing floor. But you know, so there's so much. Why didn't they do that? Why didn't they do this? Well, they probably did do these things. We just didn't see them. That's something I mentioned on last night's show, talking about their doing their due diligence with things, scanning elsewhere away from the cattle mutilation sites and all that. And we've heard them talk in the insiders program that they talk about. Yes, we did check that. We did do those things. So, assuming that they had a pretty close estimate on how far down it was, they figured about 40 feet.
Yeah, I mean, then if you want to go completely hypothetical, which I'm not saying that this is what I think, but I'm just when I'm watching this stuff and I'm trying to like rapid fire all these possibilities, no matter how outlandish some of them are, you wonder if there's like, you know, we've heard other people talk, not the team, but I've heard other people talk about like what if it has some sort of what if there's something inside of the mesa and then it has this sort of force field shield around it. I'm not saying that's what I think, but when I am going through the list of like possibilities, then could it be 40 feet down, but then it has this force field around it, as it were, that's at that level? I mean,
frictionless.
I don't know. Frictionless. Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's something that crossed my mind watching it because I kind of allow myself to think anything is possible.
Yeah, I'm the same way, and I think what you said, that's what I was thinking too, where I was like, well, it could still be 40 feet, but they just have some sort of like, once you get close enough, they're like, nope, and they just kind of activate and just keep it there to where he's just drilling at nothing that would show wear on the drill, but can somehow physically keep it in place. And I think it is sandstone, right?
Somebody it's hey,
Chris.
Yeah, limestone and whatnot. Yeah, the rock. It's good. Some of the rock is very, very hard, as you've seen what they were picking up. You know that jumble of rock,
right?
They were setting aside. You know, that's inside there as well that they're drilling through. So, yeah. Hi, Chris Bartel. How you doing? I wanted to say too. I saw that jump by. Is today Miriam's birthday?
I think yesterday was Miriam's birthday.
Oh,
but I could be wrong. Happy birthday, Miriam.
Happy birthday, Miriam.
I think it was yesterday because we were talking about it in the Q&A. But yeah, happy birthday, Miriam.
Yeah, so happy birthday to you. Yeah, I got to meet Miriam when I was out at Phenomicon last year, which was really cool. I found a drill site on top of Mesa back in 2014.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting.
Go ahead.
Tell us, Chris. How big was it? Where was it? Give us all the details. Oh.
Wow, purple, huh?
Interesting.
Wow. Okay.
It makes me so nervous when they drill into the Mesa. Like I know that we've talked about, oh, tomorrow is your birthday. So
Okay.
we'll just keep wishing you happy birthday, Miriam.
Yep.
I thought for sure it was yesterday. Happy birthday. And we'll say it again tomorrow.
Yep.
I keep thinking about how, like, because you don't know what's in the Mesa, it could be anything.
Mm-hmm.
And whether that's something like alien technology or interdimensional or man-made, it could be something dangerous. Like,
Mm-hmm.
this isn't necessary. I don't think this, but when you think about like all the missile testing stuff that's happened out in that part of the country, anything that's underground that you can't get to makes me extraordinarily nervous when people are drilling holes into.
Yeah.
I mean, could you imagine? That's scary. I'm glad that they take their time with it and they haven't decided to do anything radical.
Yeah. Brenda, thank you so much for that. Love this show. So much information that is valid to help us understand what's going on. We do our best. And that's why I bring on great guests like Shannon and Seth and have Chris Bartell jumping in saying he photographed it. He'll send pics. Awesome. Please do. But that's and all the people in the chat, Brenda, you guys, everybody that comes to the chat. I mean, it's just so much good information from you all as well. And that's why I like doing this live. So there you go. Because I like to interact with everybody and get your thoughts on all this stuff. So yeah. So I'd love to see those. Yeah, we'll get those pictures. We'll take a look at them. So the drilling, and as you heard Thomas say at the end when they got up there and the motor was seized up and it wouldn't even turn over anymore. So and Thomas, said the things that we all, at least me, did not want to hear was, well, that's pretty much it for this drilling this season. And I'm like, no.
Right. I got Oak Island flashbacks.
No, I know, right? I'm like, oh, come on. Can't you get another motor real quick?
Yeah, we ran out of time.
Yeah, we ran out of time and we had to go. Yeah. So anyway, that was a bummer. I hated to hear that, but it is what it is. So we know that, we don't know, but we assume, I'm going to assume that they're back there drilling it right now with something better. We don't know that, but we hope so, because, it's summer and we assume that they're out there filming right now. So, so we'll see. We'll see what it comes up with. So, all right. Unfortunately, that was the end of that one for the season. They didn't quite get there. So that's 3 drill attempts that all failed. All right. So the next portion of this show is they jump over to a portion with Mr. Burdett Anderson. Now, Burdett, as you know, is the man who comes out there with his super fast camera, 2,000 frames per second camera equipment that he comes out there with. He's with Photon cameras. And he comes back to the ranch to help them with an experiment planned for the East Field. And the team wants them to check out this area. And, this East Field,
I love it when they're at the East Field.
Oh, I know. Okay, so here's the ranch. Okay. And this is the East Field right here.
Mm-hmm.
Going to zoom in out right there. All right. So that's your East Field. And there's so many weird things going on in and around the East Field. Several anomalies near the ancient spiral boulders in the area. They also had the petroglyphs up on the rock up there. If you remember back in season 2, was it, when they had the petroglyphs up there and they brought out a few people to come out and take a look at them.
Mm-hmm.
And I had some more pictures, but they also had that spiral up on top of the hill.
Sorry, go ahead. I was just going to say, the person they brought out that they looked at the petroglyphs and said there was the serpent, and then the person that looked at this and said this is a spiral and walked around it, showed them how to approach it. Was that the same person, or are they 2 different people? Well, and I can't remember.
Well, John Dover was one of them that came out.
Yeah. I thought
he was the one that was talking to him about making certain frequencies.
Mm-hmm.
He was talking about certain frequencies that would open portals or do things like that.
Yeah.
Oh, East Side is 100% or 1000% keep
1000%.
understanding that property.
Yeah, I mean that's a megalithic site. Or I don't know if megalithic is the right word, but those are big boulders, and that required a lot of effort. And yeah, it's there for a reason, and it's just it's to me, Jeff, how you're always saying like the answer is at the eye of the swamp for Oak Island. This is the ranch's eye of the swamp for me, where I'm like, what is the spiral? Like, we know what they tell us it is. It's a portal. And at this show, they keep saying portal and portal over and over again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Jeff, I did forward you the pictures that Chris just sent me. I don't know if you are able to access them right now.
Can you?
I sent them to your email address.
Okay.
I don't know how to screen share on this computer in this program.
Okay. No problem.
Yeah, the spiral is universal in petroglyphs around the globe. It is something that comes up consistently, not just in petroglyphs, but I think I've talked about this a little bit before. My involvement with a woman who's doing research and, like near-death experiences, specifically in children, and the spiral is something and they use art through like conversation on all of that, and the spiral is one of the most consistent drawings that children do. And I know that seems innocuous, like it doesn't seem like that would matter, but given the sort of circumstance by which they're drawn and what they're using to describe, that's what they're using to describe, and it being so universal for thousands of years back, it's really interesting.
Yeah, it is,
especially in this episode.
Yeah, exactly. It is. And you know what? And we, how many times have we seen out at, and I'm going to bring this up when John Dover took them out to McConkey Ranch, and they were looking at some of the spiral petroglyphs that were out there on the wall at McConkey Ranch. Again, that's when he was talking about that being a portal. So you talk about the frequency, and I mentioned this earlier, frequency of sound, and a certain frequency of sound opening a portal. Now, you take that information, you add to this spiral that's up there, this thing right here, up on the hill, up on the mesa. You add that complexity to this, then you add the pictographs that's on the rock that they saw, that's right there on the side of the mesa where the drum guys, we're going to talk about that early in just a little bit. Blazing Bear team was out there right in that same area. I mean, and people are talking about, the indigenous folks talking about in a portal, and yet that's exactly where, right there in front of it, is exactly where all this stuff is happening. It can't be a coincidence that you add up all these pieces. It can't be a coincidence. It can't be.
Yeah, and like you were saying with time, like time and music are, I feel like the way music uses time, I feel like is very important and a key in all of this.
I agree with you. Like 1,000% I agree with you.
Yeah, I don't know how to articulate it. It's just,
well, music works in your brain differently than any other thing that we perceive. It has a different pathway that it follows literally in the biology of your brain, and a very simple way to explain just like perception wise, there you go, is the fact that like you could remember a song from your childhood, but you probably couldn't remember like your other important events.
Well, it makes sense why they relayed all these stories through songs for so long, right? And I'm sorry I interrupted you.
No, but that's a great point. Like, it's because you can remember, like it's a language. And then you take it a step further and you talk about the frequency and the vibrations that come with kind of like sound. Like the earth is constantly making music all of the time, just the planet itself through these vibrations. And so I don't know, it's,
And do you believe also that our bodies are also vibrating at a certain frequency? So we're in tune with certain areas. I think that's something that I have always felt because it's one of those things where, and I mentioned this a long time ago on a show one time, and I don't know if I'm completely out in left field because I have not been gone to school for this kind of thing, but it seems to me that whenever, and for me personally, whenever you go back to the area in which you were born, you feel more at peace. I don't know if that's true for everyone. There might be some psychological reasons why you don't like that area, but for me, and does it have something to do with the electromagnetic fields in that area? That's where you're born, so that's where your body is more in tune with, if I could use that word, or maybe it has something to do with the frequencies of that particular portion of the earth. I don't know. But for me, whenever I go back to the area in which I was born, I feel more at peace than anywhere else on the planet. I don't know. Why is that? Is that just me thinking about my childhood? I don't know. I mean,
all of the above, I think. I think we are grounded to, like there's, if you experience like kind of flight sickness when you change time zones or what have you, I've heard that you go outside and you go barefoot and you ground yourself in the grass, and you'll kind of, it's almost as if your body like calibrates and it's like, oh, I'm over here on the planet. I think dowsing works that way, where we're just kind of antennas and we're connected and of this earth. So I think you're right. Like your cells or something in you knows like, ooh, I'm here. I'm at the beginning of this life. Mm-hmm. That's me.
Yeah. I agree with the fact that like we're so distracted by so many other things that I think we forget that we're of this earth, like nature. Yes. Animal.
Yeah.
Like, yes. I always take it back to that.
We're part of it in all ways.
Exactly. That is the more that we get disconnected from it, I think the more we forget that we are a part of it. People, just the idea that I find that maybe in this group it's a different percentage, but like in general life, if you were to ask how often people go outside and like look up at night, it's shocking that like the majority of time, if I were to have that conversation with someone maybe outside of this group, like a group like this, it doesn't cross people's minds to go outside and just like look up.
So many people are agreeing with us over the music and everything else. There's one.
Yeah, I'm loving all the comments. Like it's so, and this is why obviously all of us are so excited for this episode.
That's exactly right. And I think that's also why like the rabbi too was one of the big ones that people were super enthusiastic about. And we've also heard from, Eric is a really big fan of sound, like using sound and vibrations and music and stuff. And I think it's interesting that like a lot of the team are also musicians as well.
I've always
that's really neat.
I don't think it's a coincidence, and
I don't either.
I've always wondered, like ever since I first started watching the show, I've always wondered like what do each of them listen to when they're like coming on the ranch, or like Travis when he's like his first time getting back on the ranch for the season after being away for a while. Does he have like a playlist that like he pumps himself up and establishes some sort of like protection almost with like, just good vibes?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Like, and then I think, what would I play? What would I listen to? Like if I was cause So I've always wondered, do any of them have particular like bands that they're just like, this is my jam. I'm good going to ranch now.
Eric, there's been at least one occasion where he's played music through the live cameras for us, but also he'll tell us what he's listening to. So I've been building a Spotify playlist of all the songs that Eric has volunteered to. And I think there's like 20, 25 songs or something on it so far, where I try to like immediately put it into the playlist. And it's interesting. I think it's really, really interesting because it's like, what are you getting? Yeah, Travis plays the same type of music that he listens to, right, Michelle? There you go.
Yeah, listens to his band. Yeah. So Travis listens to hard rock. That's me. 70s and 80s hard rock. That's why Queensryche is one of my favorite bands. It's like when I need to listen to something that really gets me going, I put on Queensryche Empire, the whole album, the entire album. Love it all. So there you go. That's kind of my go-to, get me feeling better again. Oh goodness! But I was born with, I love hard rock. That's, I mean, I like all music, but that's what when I need that and I need to get picked up, that's what I listen to. So
Yeah.
yeah, okay. I do have those pictures. I am going to bring them up now and show you. Let's see here. So we've got a couple of them here, and these are the drill sites that Mr. Chris Bartell found. And Chris, was this up on the hill near the spiral, or was it up? I mean, up on the mesa by the spiral? Where can you help us out with this a little bit? I know you said it's 1,000% east field was important, but yeah. So there's one of them right there, and he said these were about 3 inches, I guess, right? And he said one of them, it turned the thing purple. There's another one looking down into it. Yeah, that would be great, wouldn't it? There's a hole looking from it. There's, it looks like there's
looks like the little, the like little, the
like
top part of it's there, but where is all the stuff from inside of it?
Yeah. And it looks like here, I mean, he's looking down there. That looks like it's about 10 to 12 feet down to me. I don't know. Up on the mesa, not far from where the new team is at. Okay.
Interesting.
Not far to where the new team is at. Okay.
The other pictures you're going to show.
Let me see here. Let me see if I can find that. I lost that purple one for a second. Where'd it go?
It looks like purple and green. Wait.
Yeah, he said it was making his camera. Now, this is weird. I mean, it made that, and that's a plug right there. Somebody put a plug in the hole. Maybe to hide.
What is that coming out of it? Wire?
Yeah, it looks like a piece of wire on it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it looks like a piece of wire on the plug. So while Chris was out walking around, as he did a lot, yeah, it's funny. You're right, PC. It's funny that the team has not mentioned this. That's very interesting. So yeah, there's some pictures of where he saw these.
I think that the team doesn't mention anything from before because they're trying to create, like, unless they've got the direct information, which it sounds like Chris says that there wasn't even any information. It's just coming across, like being able to do their own stuff and have their own catalog rather than going off somebody else's stuff, because then it's word of mouth if they don't have actual data to back it up.
Yeah, Eric knows about it. How deep? Unknown. I showed Richard, who was the ranch manager, and he said it's an old drill site. Even he did not know who made it. So interesting. That would be there in the first place. So who would be drilling, and why would they be drilling into the mesa? Did they know that there was something that they needed to be looking for in there?
It's a small drill hole too.
Dum dum. Yeah, it's.
But also, where did everything go?
Right. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, that's that is very, very interesting. Okay. Thank you for sharing that, Chris. That's really cool. So that means somebody else was doing the same type of thing. They felt that there was some reason why they needed to drill down into the mesa to find something, and whether or not they got down there far enough to put a camera in it. That's what Jim is saying now about putting a camera. That's
Kelly said it
could
be miners checking soil samples. Yeah, I was kind of curious how long mining has been going on there.
Yeah.
Look too engineered.
Definitely a possibility that it could have been for mining purposes. So,
yeah, that's interesting. I guess because the oil fields are right there. How did they know not to keep, like, there wasn't more, like, they're right there. So was that land tested ever for oil? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
I say that like I'm asking a question that I obviously don't know.
Well, I don't know that you could be right.
That's
a viable thought for sure, because you never know that it could have had something that could be why they were up there doing test holes for looking for some sort of mineral or for the gas or oil or whatever. Definitely a possibility. But yeah, it was. I never knew that there was any other drilling going on like that. So, and if they had a drill rig up there, I'll try to get the proper dimensions. And I have GPS. Oh, good. Yeah, please share. Thank you, Chris. That's really awesome of you to share those with us. I really appreciate that very much. On the spot. Look at that. One of the other pictures that I have is this was going back to where I would mentioned about the previous seasons when they had, and I don't have this gentleman's name, unfortunately. I meant to get that before the show started because I've forgotten now what his name was, but he was showing them that this is when they went up to look at those pictographs that are on that one rock face up there. And obviously, this was they talked about, and I'm going to read this from my notes that Jan Anderson did for the synopsis of the show. Thank you, Jan.
Thank you, Jan.
This is also the area where the petroglyph of the serpent and stars that tribal experts say represent a portal. So, you know, and I took a couple of shots of this, and I remember when they talked about this on the episode, but they definitely talked about it having why. You know, and again, I go back to that whole thing I said earlier that you put all the things that the guys on the ranch now, Eric and Travis and Thomas and Caleb and Dragon have found now and Pete Kelsey with the photogrammetry anomaly, all these things, you put all these things together and they're all talking about the same general area on the ranch. And now we have Lunasond going up and having, you know, some anomalies show up as well. I just want to say there's a portal going on, but I can't because we don't know that for sure yet, right?
I mean, John Redbird said the ideas of portals have always been there. We're just discovering what our ancestors and the indigenous people in this area have always known. We're just finally catching up with science to be able to measure it in ways that satisfy people who are more science minded, I guess. I don't know.
So I often think about, this is a really weird thing to often think about, but I do. I often think about, there's something called, it's like apocalyptic nuclear architecture. And basically what that means is, how do we build, as human beings in our year right now, how do we build something to be a universal type of architecture that would be interpreted to mark where we have buried nuclear waste? Okay. So basically it's like, do we build a monument that's a spike because that is universally known as being maybe something that is viewed as dangerous, but would humans 2,000 years from now, would that still be standing one? And would humans 2,000 years from now be able to interpret it as such? I've read really interesting things where people have like, have thought about doing like these mazes that go nowhere, right? To disorient people so that they feel like they need to be frightened away from where nuclear stuff has been buried. It's interesting to think about because when that same sort of theory applied to maybe a portal, you think about leaving a stone structure in a circle or drawings of it. Like, how would you warn future people that something is here when you don't have the ability to maybe have giant architecture built around it?
Or big sign.
That was weird thinking to align them back up together, but it does. That's what I think about. Like, how would people from the past warn us in the future that a specific spot may have something? And a spiral is a pretty universal symbolism, right? Like symbol that it could mean, like when you think about literally just that motion, a drain, or like there being something, a change. So I don't know. I can see Seth's wheels are moving in his head.
That's great. Thank you, Judy, very much. Love the portal possibilities. Yes, thank you very much, Judy. I appreciate that. And Chris popped in with that too. You know, good point. Because I think you're right. And we've talked about this before. They had to record what they were seeing and what they felt, like you just said, in some way. We've seen the pictographs, petroglyphs. We've seen the rock formation. What else can they possibly do to warn us that this is an area of some sort of significance, that's how they would do it. I can't think of any other way that they would, you know, they're going to create a signpost and tell us with a pictograph or a petroglyph, right?
Right. I mean, like
By
the
rule
only
of
way you
law.
could do it by saying, hey, the chances are language is going to change and we're not going to be here and there's not a way to leave a note.
Yep.
How do we make a structure or like leave it in some sort of natural area to say this? When you think about it like that, it really does make you want, at least that's how I think about it. I think like, oh, are some of these symbols really meant as a warning too? Like, are they in specific places? Do they hold more weight in specific places? And yes, that's what we've been saying. Like it's all over the world. So does that mean that there are lots of these spots? I mean, we know that there's probably several other spots that are like the ranch, but
yeah.
Yeah. You know what I was thinking too, and this just popped into my head while you were talking about this. And this is things that, you know, that's the one bad part. Maybe one of the bad things about doing a live podcast like this is you're gonna hear some of the inner workings of my brain, like we just did with Shannon a moment ago, that might not be exactly what I want everybody to know. But with that said, going back to the McConkey Ranch petroglyph or pictographs on the McConkey Ranch, there is one that was shown where it looks like a portal where animal is falling out, a cow upside down.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
It's falling out upside down and it's going to crash to the ground. And yet we just talked last night about mutilations and how they were dropped from some sort of a height and broke his ribs, broke its legs on the Sherman Ranch, first the back legs, then the front legs when it reappeared. And I just thought of that cow falling out, or a cow type figure drawing on the wall that was falling upside down out of a portal. Okay, there. Yeah, I just saw that as you were explaining this. I'm going, oh yeah, McConkey Ranch, man, that's right. And oh boy,
wow.
Why would you draw something like that on a rock face for future people to see? What would make you think of drawing something like that if you didn't see something like that?
I mean,
back in those days. I mean, we don't know exactly when those petroglyphs pictographs. A pictograph and a petroglyph are different things. A pictograph is used to stain on the rock. And, I'm trying to remember exactly which these were, where they actually carved into the rock, pictographs and petroglyphs. But yeah, why would you put that on the rock face if it wasn't something you saw? Your brain back in those days, if we knew exactly when they were done, you're not going to automatically think of that on your own, are you? Back then, I don't know.
What it's interesting because I think there are experts in this that I think they have a mundane explanation for it. I don't know what that is. I can't not remember because I think I probably was like, oh, that's interesting. I suppose since they're experts, they must know what they're talking about because they've studied like all of these symbols and there's got to be some sort of connecting factor. But then on the other side of that, I think I don't know how that can be I don't know. I suppose it's almost like looking at one of those pictures that you can see two different ways. Like when you look at that one and it's like a bunny and a duck, but dependent upon your brain, you see it one way or the other.
Right.
It's really interesting to think about it like that too, because there's so many different, even though it's kind of universal, there are people that are like, oh, it's spiritual, which would tie into these near-death experiences that children describe. It's a portal, or, you know, if it is something like what we see, actually, I don't know if we're jumping ahead yet or not, but like it lights up to the vibrations and things. Is that some sort of, is it a protection? Is that stone circle a protection against this other thing? Does that stone circle actually close it?
Maybe it's instructions of some sort. Yeah.
Or does it open it? I mean,
or
but it obviously has something to do with it.
Yeah. Oh, obviously. Yeah. I totally agree. It has something to do with it. What that is, we just don't simply know. I seen Chris Bartell, if he was talking about what I was talking about, the portal and the cow falling out, if that's what you were referring to, Chris, you said that's at McKee Springs. I have pictures of that as well. The whole basin is connected. So if you were talking about the cow falling out of the picture, okay, so that may not have been at McConkey then. I remember seeing it, and I think Carl the Crusher was also showing it and talking about that as well. So so I mean that's a whole area where we could really dig into a lot deeper, because I really think that that's it. That's exactly. And here we have, we're talking about the fact that they were showing these, they're showing us that there's something weird going on in this place. These guys have proven with data that there's something weird going on in this place. So you put the two together, or 3 or 4 or 5 different things together, there's something weird going on in this place. Thank you, Chris. Said yes. Yeah. Okay. So that's what McKee.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's at McKee Springs, not at McConkey Ranch. Thank you, Chris.
It's also interesting that we look at these things almost through a magnifying glass, where sometimes I wonder if we have to back up to look at them as a whole, rather than under this very particular, maybe there's several pieces that need to work together or be acknowledged to get the whole message.
I think you're right, and I think that's the part we're missing. Parts that we're missing. Exactly. But thank goodness that these guys, Travis and Eric, and they're applying science to this, and not just science, but they're also applying, here in the next few pieces here that we're going to show, or I'm going to show, they set up an experiment out there to actually, and this is with Burdette Anderson coming out with his high-speed camera to actually start getting some information. They're going to fire off a rocket, and they're going to take some high-speed camera footage of that, and then also they're going to do some sound experiments here as well. And so there you see the rocket taking off, and then they were very happy about the fact that it seemed to go right up into the anomaly that they had seen, the photogrammetry anomaly above that area that was seen by Pete Kelsey's pieces of equipment.
I remember that too, Craig.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Interesting when you even more interesting why it was lighting up, and like Jim had said that the spiral he had seen could also be a shield. So
that's very true.
Warning, a shield.
Thank you. This is why I love the chat.
Yeah,
the
chat
remember the stuff. Yeah,
chat's been.
Thank you. That's
really
right. Tonight. So that would be the seal on the Dark One's prison. Where did that come from? That's a book series that I was Robert Jordan. Anybody know Robert Jordan's Wheel
of Time? Yep. Randall Thor.
Yeah.
Dragon Reborn.
Yep. They seal on the Dark One's prison.
Great series if you like fantasy.
Yep. So when they shot the rocket up in the air and on all of that, then we see this little thing here. Now this particular, and I'm going to go ahead and continue calling it a UAP because right now we still don't know exactly what this is. We want to jump to conclusions, or I do. I certainly want to jump to conclusions on this thing because it's so cool. But it's schemed over the sky, and you see the guys are looking up in the air, but they're looking at the rocket, and you can see them down, back up a little bit. You can see them. They're watching the rocket. They have no idea that this thing is happening over here. And it shoots by, and you can see another shot of it there where it's highlighted. And they kind of compared it to the gimbal video later on in their analysis. But one of the things, and like I said, I am so quick to want to say that is a alien UAP. Well, we don't know that for a fact. The guys have not had a chance to fully analyze this yet. But man, oh man, is this cool or what? From what they can tell in the high-speed camera and their initial looking at this, it appears to have gone by at what Travis calculated was 3,600 miles per hour.
Wow.
My brain can't think that fast. So
I know. I'm thinking now.
The math thing, I can't even Like
Yeah.
when I watch people do
You
math
saw
on
him. You
television,
saw Travis on the show. He's grabbing his
gotta have
phone.
a calculator
He's
out.
doing
And by the time
calculations, right?
right, I even had
Yeah.
it figured out. The scene is fast. Like
Right.
it's incredible to me that people can do math like that.
Yeah. There he is calculating it already to get that's 3,600 miles an hour. I'm like, okay, that would be Travis to figure that out, right? So go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was going to say no sound, no wake.
Exactly.
Just like the tic tac, frictionless, kind of what you were saying with the drill bit earlier.
Yeah. If something was traveling by that quickly, would it not make some sort of, as they said on the show, wouldn't it make some sort of a atmospheric announcement, if for lack of a better word to use? You would hear something whoosh, something happening, unless it was completely frictionless, or unless it is not what they thought it was at all. I don't know. I mean, so yeah. We just didn't, unfortunately, we didn't see yet the full analysis of this thing. They just have the pictures of it that they got there, and then they went back and looked at it again on the in the command center. But I mean, and the high speed camera clicking by at 2,000 frames per second said that thing moved. What did he say? A half a mile in 1.12 seconds.
Yeah. So as far as like if it was a bug and you do see the like a flapping of wings, like wouldn't that, I don't know, to me I feel like it wouldn't even be flapping. I don't know.
I want you to go ahead. You were starting to mimic it. I would like to see you try. That was a fantastic impression.
Thank you.
Now do it at 3,600 miles per hour.
Right. Yeah. I feel like if it was moving that fast, maybe you wouldn't even see wings. So if you are seeing, like you were saying, Jeff, like maybe what we're seeing is like the gimbal or some sort of shielding rotating.
Yeah.
I don't know. But that was kind of what I was thinking. And then, oh no, about Jim and SMS. They've been
They got put in time. They got put in JFree906 jail. I was going to say insiders jail, but
but it's not. It's not my fault.
You didn't do it this time.
As Michelle pointed out in the chat, that it is not me this time. Seth, you are not aware of that because that was before your time. Because I haven't done it in a very, very long time. But when I
banned
first
people
started, by accident.
People,
my phone would bounce around in my purse, and the next thing I'd know, people were banned because it was open to the chat. Yeah.
Oh, those were the good days. Yeah. Just really people out,
It was so funny for everyone but me.
Yeah, exactly. So, so that's really, I mean, this thing, like I said, I really want to jump to conclusions on this thing and say it was an alien ship that flew by that fast. And it made me think about, and I know I've said this a few times now, and I'm bragging about the UAP that I saw back in August last year. I saw that UAP.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to still stick with it being a UAP, and it flew by so fast in the frame, and I just happened to see a flash. I mentioned it to some folks, and finally we got it all analyzed. People looked at it later on, and Eric looked at it, and he asked me, when did you see this? And I think it took a day for it to actually show up in the spreadsheet, because they do a recording. That's, as an insider, when we see stuff like that, it's copied, it's put onto the video of it is done in slow-mo and all kinds of different ways, and then it's put onto the spreadsheet that Shannon developed and all that kind of stuff, and so that other people can check them out. Do you have any idea right now how many anomalies are on the spreadsheet right now? Just a while.
Oh, thousands.
Thousands.
Yeah, I would say so. When I just looked at this month alone, we're on the 7th, and we've got about 35 or 40. I think we average about, I say thousands where it's low, probably 2,000 if I had to guesstimate. I think one of the busiest months was probably like 330 or something. Now, they're possible anomalies. That's why it's called possible anomalies, because nobody is saying that anything is necessarily anomalous. But with that being said, imagine if just one of the 1,000, imagine if just one of 2,000 is something anomalous.
Right.
That is extraordinary. And I think what's really cool too about the collection that we have is that people are learning discernment.
Yes. Definitely.
It's helpful to be able to look at other videos that are of similar things and be able to develop a sense of,
that's a bug.
Oh, is this weird? Is this not? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Am I allowed to say, like, well, you just mentioned the thing that you caught in August. Like, there was something that was caught that was pretty extraordinary 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And that's all I will say about it. But what I will say is this, is that if it turns out to be what it seems to be, it's probably one of the most wild videos I've seen anywhere ever, not just the insiders, but like in the whole of the internet, of me watching videos that are not that I like sit and like look for.
Well, I do. What's wrong with that?
I watch them. I watch them.
I don't Google for them though, because
I don't either.
You never know. In this
well, you don't use Google anymore.
Right.
No, I'm kidding.
But no, of course not. But like the fact that it was watched live, like we watched it happen live, so you know that it's not being photo edited or like video edited or anything like that. Just absolutely insane.
When I see certain insiders getting intrigued by things, that's what makes me intrigued. Because me, I'm like every bug. I'm like, ooh, that's something. So I wait. I reserve my judgment until the more grounded people go, no, that's this. But like you said, I've gotten a lot more discernment now, even when I'm not looking at the live feed, but just in my own sky watching, I've gotten so much better at being like, oh, I'm seeing
satellite.
I'm seeing a satellite, or I'm seeing, the sun hitting a plane as the sun sets, and it's really shining, and I can look and now I know what apps to pull up for planes and satellites. It's really cool.
Yeah, I've got like 4 different apps on my phone that I go outside now with to like be able to check things, and I'm kind of, I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, but I like watching people be enthusiastic in our group. I don't ever discourage, because I think that people need to learn through. Yeah. I think it's better to like help people learn. So I generally don't say anything when I am watching the stuff. But this one I'm going to say something about, because it was insane. Like, I've made a lot of noise about this one.
That's cool.
Because it's just like, I almost cannot believe it. I'll be really interested to see what comes of it. And yeah, I mean, they have the raw data to their, the live cameras, but like when they bring in a third party or whatever, for example, Burdette, I don't know. That's going to be difficult.
Yeah.
Having a third party coming in and not having control over the raw data of things.
Yeah.
So
exactly. Yeah. Interesting. All around, really. It's and again, it's one of these things where we could really take off and talk a lot about, oh, there he is. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing. He's back. All right. I was just getting ready and see if it was banned. I was going to try to unban him.
Yeah, Jim and the pirate. Y'all be nice. Don't make Linda mad again.
Linda did not do it on purpose. She did a little oopsie and banned a couple people, or not banned.
It happens.
Yeah, it happens sometimes. Yeah,
it does.
They got put in timeout. That's by accident. So glad you're back. Sorry about that. Didn't mean it. All right. So let's move on to the next section of the show, because you remember when the guys were showing this particular piece, and they were showing that what appeared to be some sort of a UAP that flashed by at 3,600 miles an hour. They were also talking about the cow incident that took place when the cow was down. They found the dead cow. They went back and looked at the footage, and they saw the cow was trying to get up off the, or at least it was moving in some way when this was right above it. Um, and it didn't seem to be hovering over that spot because they just happened to catch this. But in another frame, one frame later, it had moved what they were thinking in such a way that they were estimating, or Travis was, about 1,700 miles an hour at that time. But he was basing it upon it being basically right over that tree, that close to the camera. If it was further back, then it could have very well been traveling at twice that speed. So, again, do we know what this thing is? No, unfortunately, we do not know exactly what it is, just like we don't know exactly what the thing was they saw the other night yet. They haven't had a chance to really, really go through that footage and tell us what it is just yet. So hopefully that's coming.
Yeah, I think they're waiting on raw data.
Yeah. So,
and
yep,
it happens.
Yep. And Eric was questioning at this time. Of course, they were talking about the frictionless thing, which we go back, talking about all kinds of stuff in that realm. The thing underneath the Mesa, something that could move through. And you remember how we've seen the Tic Tac video? I'm going to bring up that other picture again, real quick. Tic Tac. And you see this, what looks like some kind of a halo around the unit. And this one here, you see what looks like some sort of a thing in the, around the front of it right here. And let me get that out of there so you can see it. Now, see, I don't know. Is that some sort of and yeah, I'm going to say it, a warp bubble or some sort of a frictionless bubble that goes around it so they can travel through anything without disturbing it and making a noise, a whooshing noise or anything like that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I wish that we could talk about the thing that we saw, because I feel like I now, having really analyzed that, it makes me.
Well, I
look
was
at other
wondering.
things
Yeah, I
differently.
was talking about that one that I saw, back in August, and I'm talking about what day it was. And I thought, oh man, and I was hoping someday, if it really truly was something, and the fact that Eric was asking about it, maybe it was something that they saw. Maybe it was this. I don't know, but who knows? And what I saw may not be anything at all. It could have been.
That's right. I didn't even think about that. That was one of the things that I wanted to do when we started this season watching it, was to see if we could find out the day, if the day that stuff was happening.
Did it show up during the filming that they saw
Right.
or something? Did they kick the hornet's nest that day and it showed up and we caught it?
Yeah.
Don't know.
I didn't even think about
But
that.
I tell you what, we were talking about it, something that just happened, folks. If you want to check it out, you got to be an insider. You can go check it out. That's all I'm going to say on it. If you want to check out this great thing, then you need to be an insider to go check it out. And you can do that. The link down below in the description. You can be an insider. Click on that link and it'll take you. And you can go check it out. Do the 7-day free trial and go see it for yourself. Yeah. So, all right. Moving right along. Okay. So then they had the cow and they had that UAP. I'm going to call it a UAP because we don't know what it is. Unidentified. Show up above it. So, and then he was working, Eric was working with sound because he was questioning whether or not the occurrence was from the rocket or was it from the sound that they were playing at the time. He decides to perform a sound experiment that will broadcast a range of tones at different frequencies in the hope of stimulating some type of a response. Eric begins with the first frequency and then he works up through several tones. Travis says that he can feel the tones being emanated from the speaker system. And even after Eric stops, he can feel the reverberation. So you got those higher tones and then you got the lower tones down below. So you get down around 100 and that's when you're getting the lower tones that are down in the basing range. And then the higher ones would be, obviously higher tone. So they found that they were running about 192 hertz tone, and the UAP or a UAP showed up. This is looking at the tones here a little bit, and again, you have to really understand all that to be able to see exactly what's going on there. But a UAP showed up. Travis said it popped in, it zoomed in, stopped above them, and then disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it wasn't just all of a sudden he looked up and saw it. He said it zoomed in. If I remember correctly, that's what he said in the show. It zoomed in, and it was there for a minute or a few seconds, and then it disappeared. They did get a picture.
It's like checking in.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you rang. I know that those tones when they played, she got like very upset by it.
Yeah, Travis was saying it sounded like they were kind of like echoing a bit after Eric would stop, and then that 192 one when what did he say? He's like, I feel it in my feet, or he's feeling it.
Yeah. Good job.
Thank you.
That was good. Yeah, he did. That's what he said. He could feel it in the ground. He could feel the lower tones. You could feel it in the ground. So yeah,
that's cool. Can you imagine like just feeling the ranch resonate after you send these sounds out, and then you see a UAP in the sky.
And a UAP comes by to check it out. Hey, is somebody calling me?
Yeah. You rang, like Shannon said.
You rang? Yeah, you rang.
Hello. Yeah. I'm here. So, okay. No.
But you know what, folks?
It was the humans again.
I think they're getting closer.
Right, those pesky humans.
Oh, it's you guys again. Oh, jeez. Will they ever stop? These just roll your windows up when you go by the earth, right? Lock your door.
Yeah.
Lock your spaceship.
Yeah.
But what's really cool about all of these experiments or exercises, as the guys call them, that they do is that they are slowly but surely getting
UFO.
UFO.
Yeah, I love the way he says it. UFOs.
Yep. Well, they call that one the UFO DAP, that camera thing that the guys were using, Andy and Paul on Beyond, the UFO DAP. That they're doing all these different exercises to try to figure out a way that they can actually find out what is it that is stimulating the activity. So when they get this figured out, then we're going to see activity all the time. And I almost slipped and said it, but all right. So let's move on here. All right. Now comes another very interesting part of the show. They bring out Jim Morris actually brings out, and this guy right here. I want to talk to this gentleman right here because what he did with Tom and Candace and talking to the locals and the indigenous folks out there. I think this. Oh, we did. Sorry. Yeah. Hold on 1 minute. I'll get to that, Linda. Thank you. Sorry. But talking to the indigenous folks and having them come out and do things and get their experiences, and Uncle Jim, I mean, I so want to talk to him. I'd love to have him come on the show so we can really. I think
I would too.
What he is doing is fascinating, and Tom and Candace as well, reaching out to the locals, because what better way to really get some stories of how the people feel about this? Yeah, exactly. Is to do that. And I really respect this man for his community outreach, and things that he's doing. So yeah. I forgot the giveaway. So we got to do that. That's right now. So we're going to bring up Linda and we're going to do the giveaway real quick. And then we'll continue on with the guys from Blazing Bear. Hi, Linda. Hi. All right. Now, real quick, I'm going to show this again. I'm going to explain what it is. We'll try to, I know we're running long. We've just so many rabbit holes to talk about tonight for sure.
Sorry.
No. It's all good. Good stuff.
No, you're not.
I am sorry.
Okay, so we are giving away these little coasters right here. They got cork bottoms on them. They're nice little coasters, and it's a set of 2. So we're going to give those away. Now, to be eligible to get these, you need to be part of our Facebook group, and that is the Curse of Oak Island and Beyond Skinwalker Ranch. You can find us on YouTube. There's a link down in the description below. You can find it there. You can click on it, become a member, and then Linda will put up the picture of what the giveaway is as a post on our Facebook page, and then you need to just simply comment yes, and then you will be eligible to win it. She'll put you in the drawing. Then, once you've done that, did we just lose Seth? We lost Seth. Did you ban him?
I did not. I switched mice because my mouse was going crazy I
Oh,
didn't ban him, I promise.
So so then you just say yes to the post as a comment, and you're eligible to win it. And then you have to be present to win here tonight when she does the spin. So
Can I win it?
did you put a yes into the comment?
No.
Then you
Do I
cannot win
need
it.
to? Okay.
You have to put a yes under the comment.
Even I have
Wait, does it have to be on Facebook or
Uh,
in the YouTube chat?
Facebook.
Where'd you guys go?
Darn.
Oh, it's
Okay,
all
are
you.
you ready?
You're
All
ready.
me.
Let's spin it.
Oh, me. Let's see if we can see it this time.
You can see the names across the top. That's good enough. Eva.
Eva.
Eva got him. All right. Good job. And she's here. I saw her earlier. I think she's still here. Eva, let us know if you're here. And you are going to get those. And let's go back to the shot. And we still don't have a Seth here.
He said he'll be right back.
Oh,
We'll be
okay.
right-
All right.
And I have Eva's address. I know where
All right.
she is.
All right.
She's a Colorado girl.
Colorado girl. Yes, she is.
There
I
she
met her,
is.
and I know I've told that story before, but there she is. Woo-hoo. Eva and I met Eva at Phenomicon last year. It was so cool. She was the first person that I met in all of the area when I got there, and turns out she was an insider and all that. So it was really cool to meet her. Eva, congratulations.
All right. I will get that out to you. It may be Tuesday, but hopefully Monday.
All right,
Thanks,
cool.
everybody.
Thank you, Linda.
Thank you, Linda.
Hey, welcome back, Seth.
Thanks, Linda. I'm back.
All right. Okay, so moving right back along, we got Jim Morse, and he went out this time and he got the guys from Blazing Bear drummer. He's a drummer. There's John, and he has what I thought was so cool about this also was that the members of Blazing Bear are from different tribal nations all working together. I thought that was so cool.
I did too. I was excited to see so many nations represented.
Yes, absolutely. And this is something that I had brought up, and I thought, well, they didn't hear me, because I brought this up. Oh gosh, sometime last year, talking about whether or not they had ever thought about having a tribal group come out and do their song with the drum. And I never got any response from that. So I thought, well, maybe it was a bad idea after all. And then, here they do, they have it. So, I don't know. Did you make a comment? It showed up as me.
It did. I guess because I typed it on here. I was just letting you know that I got the second thing of pictures from Chris.
Oh, okay. All right. Cool. Yeah, I guess if you type it in there. I did not know
I
that.
can type whatever I want then under your name.
Ooh, yeah. Just don't get me in trouble, please.
No.
All right. There's the members there of the team, of the group, and they are coming out to do some ritual tribal songs. And what did let's see, he said it in such a way, and I want to make sure to see if it's in here. John Dover brings out a group of drummers, Blazing Bear, to the ranch to repeat the experiment in a more traditional way. The group sets up in the East Field and in front of the Mesa where the serpent petroglyphs are located.
Yeah, he said the songs are traditional ceremonial songs that they were playing.
Yes. Yeah, I love
and
this
it was
stuff.
so cool because they were from different tribes.
Yes,
right?
Exactly. Yeah, that was a really cool part
Very,
about
very
it.
cool.
Yeah. And these are moving. I tell you what, man, I've been to several powwows. I really have. I love going to them. I love to watch the traditional dance and the regalia. And it's just so cool. I just love it. I really love going to these things. Let's see. They had to bring in outsiders because the locals understand the history. When I was out there, I tried to get at least one local native to walk with me. Never happened, unfortunately. And you're right. Yeah, I've heard that. The people that are local around the area, the indigenous folks, do not want to participate in it at all because of, the whole Skinwalker thing. And I can understand that. I really, truly can.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's John Redbird Dover. Yep, and he's out there with them. And they also brought out David Mason. David is bringing out his thermal imaging cameras so that he can watch what happens. And this part of the show really, really was fascinating to me. So they bring these
Mhm.
guys out, they get them set up right there. And, can you imagine, how sound bounces off rock when you get into a canyon and you yell, and how you get the echo effect and all that
Yes.
kind of the sound reverberating around? Can you imagine what this song sounded like? These songs right there in that spot.
I get goosebumps thinking about it.
I do
I
too.
know.
That would
The
be so
basin is like a perfect
Mm-hmm.
sound dish. Like it
Yeah.
just,
Yeah,
yeah.
it is. Yeah, I would love to see. Now, those guys don't want to, the locals don't want to go out to Skinwalker Ranch, but when we were in Vernal at Phenomicon, there was a area where they did the Voice of Believers, and Jim and Roger know what I'm talking about, and anybody else that went to it. And we were in a canyon that had a big rock face around one side of it. And man, if you, it echoed like that. And if they could play, yeah, like an amphitheater, Cat said, yeah, if they could play in an area like that, I would love to hear that song being played in a spot like that. That would be so cool.
You know, it'd be really, I'm sorry, my mind just wandered, but I was thinking about the basin being good, how it does that. Imagine if let's say a portal did open and all of a sudden the echo changed because it was no longer sealed in.
Oh,
That would be, that's how you would like know that something was off, is because it stopped making the same sound because of how like perfectly, like what a perfect bowl it is. Or if somebody like punctured a hole in that bowl, how the sound would change. Sorry, that's a tangent, but it's
oh, that
definitely
sounds
something that
cool.
crossed my
Yeah,
mind.
yeah. The coolest
It's
experience.
interesting to think about.
Yeah.
Materials drums suspended. They lay underneath and feel the frequency penetrate you. It's wild, so memorable an experience. Yeah. And Chris talked about the drum circle, 3 at one time in correlation to Orion's belt could unlock something interesting. Ooh.
It's 3. It's always
Yeah.
interesting. 3 has such
Yeah.
a magical power.
Yeah, you see where the guys are set up right here. I mean, look where they're set up, and right here is that rock with the pictographs on it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and then to the right of that is where they saw, I mean, what we're going to talk about, right? But seeing it in the daylight, I hadn't thought to like look at this daylight picture, knowing what we know about where the things are going to appear on the FLIRs.
The stone spiral is up here somewhere. I'm not exactly sure where, but it's up here. It might be up on top of the second ridge or something, but it's up this way. So yeah, it's up on the hill there behind them. So up on the far right hand corner of the picture up there someplace. But yeah, so I mean, this is something I've been, when I heard they were coming, man, I was like, this is so awesome. So the guys get all set up, and he gets all of his cameras set up to watch and record anything that happens. There's that rock with the portal and all that drawn on it, right there, a little close up of it. And did you catch when Thomas was talking about this plant right here?
Yeah, it was dancing.
Isn't that awesome? I mean, what would cause that?
Well, he said there was no wind, right? Didn't he addressed that?
Yeah.
Could vibrations do it? That was something that crossed my mind. Like,
I would think they could. And you're talking about an area where the vibrations are going to be concentrated. And I think we're looking at a little bit of poison ivy right there, by the way, too. So that looks like poison ivy to me. Leaves of 3, leave of me. Yeah, I believe that's
you
poison ivy.
Right.
You definitely don't want to mess with it. Yeah. But yeah, he noticed them moving and shimmering. I didn't get a video of that.
Yeah, like people in the chat are saying that the sound waves bouncing off the rock. I could see that.
Yeah, poison ivy or poison oak. Yeah, it's one of the two. It's definitely one of the. So I'm not. Yeah, dancing poison ivy. Sumac, Jeff. Oh, maybe it's sumac. I don't know. Yeah,
it's all poison though.
Yeah, either way, I ain't
sumac.
Yeah,
poison ivy.
Yeah, when you're crawling around out there in the when you're crawling around out there in the rocks, just be careful what you're, rubbing up against, because But that I thought that was very, very cool. That whole the dancing leaves. So as night settles in, about 8:03, of course, we see that, and you can see the cameras that are set up taking shots of the guys. So there's the team getting ready to start, and as they're going through the evening, and as they do, what happens to the stone spiral?
What are the stones made out of?
I don't know if they're limestone or what. I'm not sure. Does anybody know? Do you know, Chris Bartel?
Yeah, I'd be interested to find out like what type of actual material they're made out of.
Yeah, are they granite? Or are they limestone? Or are they? I don't know. I don't know that it was said on the show. I don't believe they did.
And like, what would happen if they took a different? Like, if I'm curious, what would happen if they set up one identical to it next to it?
Mhm.
If it needs to have the the intention that was put into it when it was originally placed, because I think there probably was some sort of, this was important to the indigenous people that were there. I feel like that's what I've been under the impression of. If it would be really interesting, because if it's the same material and it's in the same location, if you could compare the two when it was having a drum circle, whether or not one was placed with intention versus the other, it would be interesting to see if they both started to glow or if only the one did.
Right.
Yeah, and the rocks used, I mean, they're the same type of material as everywhere else on the Mesa. So
you think so anyway? Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
What made it heat up? We don't know, Diana. We're not really sure. The idea behind this is that it started to heat up when the guys were playing in the drum circle. When they were playing a particular song, that I think this is the one where Eric points out that when the Blazing Bear is playing the drum only, he gets a peak near 200 hertz, which is around that 192 that they had with the when the UAP showed up. So something about that, right in that range, about 200 hertz, is where they're seeing an effect.
Yeah, and it cools down when they stop playing, so it's correlated for sure.
Yep. Yeah. So and then you're right, when they stopped playing, this cooled off, they started playing, and it started heating back up again. So it was definitely basalt stone, I'll say. So yeah, I don't know. It would be interesting to find out exactly what these rocks were made out of, because that's something right there, because there's so many rocks up on that hill, folks, and only the spiral stones lit up like this, started glowing. Why? Why would they be affected?
Right, which is what I'm thinking. Like, is it specific to that precise location? So if so, could you put more rocks in that and see if the ones that weren't placed there originally, if they were made out of the same material, would those also heat up, or would they not? And if they do, then is it that specific spot? Or if they don't, is it because of why, like the intention behind them being placed?
Exactly.
Or especially if you use the same exact material.
Yeah, maybe there's something mathematical about the placement too, to increase the resonance.
Yes.
It's
but then you'd be scared to mess with it, which is why I'm like, if it's not the exact, maybe if you did it right next to it, that would be close enough. I'm not sure that,
I think it wasn't. I think it was put there to harness whatever anomalies we're experiencing on the ranch. And I don't know if it's supposed to act as to help you access the portal or to shield you from stuff, but I think they had to put it. I think that placement is important. I think I agree. It is harnessing something that's existing there already.
Do you think that if something was put literally right next to it, because unless they knew that it was only that specific spot, there might be some sort of gray area around it. Do you think it would mess that up?
Maybe.
Yeah, I think intention matters. Absolutely. I agree with the idea that the placement matters, but I think even more importantly is the intention. If I went out there and did something right next to it, we might see something, but I personally do not believe it would be as intense as that. I think, and I don't know enough about how I would go about setting something up like that.
No,
Right.
you'd have to know what you're doing.
Yeah, and the fact that
I'm guessing you would have to know what you're doing.
and the fact that they made it to where like so many people with the native knowledge can go out there and immediately recognize like, oh, this is a portal and you need to approach it this way.
Yes.
And
he did.
And we see other natives, indigenous people, like with the offering of the tobacco with the fire marshal.
Yeah.
They have a knowledge that we don't, for sure. And
that's true.
I don't think I could recreate what's happening with that.
Yeah, that's where I'm at too. Do you think that it matters what drum song they played?
Well, I think so, because when they, it seemed like, Eric asked them to do it without the singing. And then when they sang again, they seemed to provoke those sounds and the feeling of someone being there. They still got something even before the drum circle came out. They got a resonance, they got a feeling in his feet, a UAP sighting. So the resonance itself does have power, but I think someone made a good comment about like that resonance allows us to attach our consciousness, a message to it. So I think that song was them here. Let's open the portal with this.
Yeah.
Boom, 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 boom. And now we're going to sing and add even more information to this.
Right. Like the drum is the carrier signal and the singing is the actual data within the drum, the carrier
yes.
signal. So.
And it allows you to, and I think it allows us to enter the trance state as well.
Yeah.
I just had a thought. If this is being shown in order of how it was shot, and the subsequent episodes are supposed to be like, we've been hearing that something big is coming.
Right.
Do you think the fact that they did this with the stone circle had anything to do with what subsequently happens?
They opened something up.
Oh,
is that possible? Like, is that
sure.
like,
yes,
if it wasn't a shield, could they have literally initiated something without?
Travis asked that at the end, where he's like, "Is this the frequency that opens the door or something?"
Yes, he did. He did say that.
I must have, but yeah.
Like
I mean, I guess when you seriously think about it, not just as as a comment, it's like, could this be like kind of in the grander scheme of things? But to know that stuff happened, like in the period of time after, I think something happened. I mean, I guess we'll have to see.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Like Giorgio Sukolo said, I'm not going to say it's a portal, but it's a portal.
It's a portal.
Yeah.
Man, what would we even do if we found a portal? I don't like. We're all like, I hope it's a portal. What are we gonna do with it?
Yeah, a portal for who and for what and
for what? Like, why?
To where?
I've already said I'm going in.
You got a live stream for us when you do.
Yeah, I'll take my.
And that's why everybody should, subscribe and get those notifications, because when Jeff finds the portal,
he's going in.
Yeah, he's going
in. And I will be watching from afar.
Yes. I'm going in. Oh, and I'll be broadcasting live. All right, here we go in, and poof, that's it. Oh, wow. Is it stream over already? You got cut off. Oh, yeah. So I'm out. Oh, Christina. No, you're not. Okay, I see. I've been called out already. All right. You don't want to go with me, Christina? Yeah. Okay.
What if it's not actually a portal? It just causes something to make you lose your mind. So therefore, you are existing in a different.
I'm good to go then, because I've already lost
mental realm. Man, so many possibilities here.
So many.
I just like to know that you're all in, Jeff, and you're going to live stream it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'll definitely live stream it. You betcha. And I know who will go with me. I think Carl Crusher will go with me. So who's going with me? Yeah. Let me know now who's going in with me.
I got to stay. I really like it here.
Yeah. Same. Same.
But you tell
alien timeout.
Yeah, I'm not rushing it, right? Like my time to cross over into another realm will come eventually. I'm not going to rush it. I'm not going to rush it.
Oh, look at there. B. Jones. Oh my gosh. For pocket change when you go through the portal.
B. Jones is so sweet.
I gotta
He
take
won't need it if he gets incinerated.
We're right, but they said, I gotta take American Express card, because didn't they say that card you take it anywhere?
Imagine if you do go into the portal and there's aliens on the other side, and it's like, why have we been wasting our time abducting people when they can come right to us, like on a conveyor belt? You have no idea what you'd be walking into.
Yeah, I know. You think your horse would go into that? Like, getting your horse to come on.
If the horse goes into it, maybe I would go into it. If the
there
horse
you go.
doesn't feel frightened, they're pretty good biosensors.
Like stepping into the ways in Robert Jordan's book, right? Going into the ways.
Oh man.
Yeah. All right. So there were some cold spots seen also, but we're getting to the part. Again, folks. I mean, I'm so fascinated by the fact that the guys are getting closer and closer, I feel, to an answer as to what can, they're kicking the hornet's nest. They're trying to figure out what means do they use to kick the hornet's nest? Is it the sound? Is it the rockets? Is it the certain signals that they can send? What is it that is creating all of this? That can open something or cause this high strangeness to start happening. And I think they're narrowing it down. They're getting closer and closer to that answer. There were some cold spots that were also observed up there as well. That seemed to be a little colder than other places, and they showed those as well. And then remember when the guys from Blazing Bear said that they saw what they thought, they called it a shadow figure, I believe it was?
They said they saw a figure, they heard something, and they saw a figure moving back and forth. And then when they were down back telling Travis about it, John Redbird Dover said, y'all saw shadow people. And the gentleman from Blazing Bear seemed like he agreed. I don't know if he used the word when he was telling. I think he just said, we see a figure. It looks like he's moving back and forth. But John said shadow people, and that perked me up right away. Because in my opinion, I thought, okay, so they see a cold spot on the FLIR. Blazing Bear says, we hear something. They call Dragon out. They tell Dragon it's up in there. And the spot where they send Dragon is where they see a cold spot on a FLIR. John says you saw shadow people. So my thought was, do shadow people appear on FLIR cameras as cold spots?
Yes. Oh, I don't know.
Right.
I'm gonna say yes. I don't know why I'm saying that really, but I've seen watching some, and I'm gonna go to it saying paranormal shows.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily believe the whole paranormal. Yeah. See, that's what SMS Pirate just said. Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know, but there have been cold spots spotted with thermal imaging cameras, or cold anomalies that move, spotted with thermal imaging cameras during what would be considered a ghost investigation or a paranormal investigation, which I'm throwing that. I'm my whole thinking, and I've done a lot of them, and I know you're getting ready to say something, Shannon. Hold that thought. But I've done a lot of paranormal investigations, and I've seen them with myself or for myself. But I don't believe that. I'm really pulling away from the whole ghostly spirit thing, and I'm going more towards this type of thing. Go ahead with your thought.
That's what my question was going to be. I'm interested. I was actually listening to something last night where it was talking about like how cold spots and ghosts somehow became like with one another when there's actually not, like, there's plenty of, like, there's no evidence to say that it's a ghost that's causing a cold spot, but a lot of people think that that's what it is. So that's where I was going to go. It's just like,
I don't think it has anything.
Cold spots can be anomalous for sure. To be able to say that it's like a ghost is an entirely different thing. I also don't think that the idea of like shadow people or beings are the same thing as ghosts either. Like that's a totally different thing entirely. But it's interesting that cold spots do kind of continuously come up in paranormal investigations or in investigations like this. Such a weird word, paranormal, because I feel like paranormal is such an awkward, like it's one of those words that don't actually mean what it says it means, because it's so normal. Like this stuff happens
exactly
all the time.
Yeah,
it's not unusual.
Oh.
It's, so, but yeah, that's all I was gonna say.
Yeah, no, I agree. And like I said, I used to always think about things in terms of spirits and ghosts and all that, where I'm pretty much throwing that all out the window now. I really don't believe that in it, that these things that we're seeing have really anything to do with spirits and ghosts. I think that they are interdimensional. I think it all has something to do with this stuff now.
Isn't it interesting? It's like baby steps up.
Yep.
Right?
It
Like
is.
ghost stories are what we know as children that like our minds can kind of comprehend and we can make sense of. And then you either graduate from ghost stories to like critical thinking and
Good night, Miriam.
and all of that, right?
Yep.
But like that's the like children know ghost stories. And I think that's a very digestible, even though it's frightening, it's a very digestible kind of idea to grasp onto. And then you graduate to the point where we're like cold spots could be shadow people or ultra terrestrials or like some it's just
Jan Scarza mentioned it too about taps, and I love that team. I've actually got a chance to investigate with Tango and Steve before, and really cool guys for one, but Taps was my favorite group out there that was doing stuff because I thought they were more on the level of not being, not so much drama involved in it. But yeah, they did a couple times. They had one running across the hallway, and then the one in the lighthouse that was in the town down in Florida, the lighthouse down there. Why am I at a loss for the name of this?
Yeah, I don't know.
Saint
Augustine?
St. Augustine Lighthouse. Yes.
Oh, okay. I did a ghost tour there when I was
they saw something on the stairwell, walking on the stairwell. It was like a shadow figure walking on the stairwell. It looked over the edge, actually. It's pretty cool. Anyway, as I digress down that rabbit hole, let's get back to this. So
we've had lots of those tonight.
Yes.
Oh, everybody was popping in telling me St. Augustine. Yes, that's the place. Okay,
really cool place.
And then the final piece of it all came at the end of the show, and they showed, Eric captured this. I should say them. These two light anomalies that fly what appears to be flying into the top of the mesa. Now, folks, you can digest this. I mean, again, they showed it, here. They went back to the command center. They talked about it a little bit more in the command center. I actually have this on video. I captured the video of it too, and I got a little spot. But I mean, these two lights, what do you guys make of this? What are your thoughts? And I want to hear from the chat too, what you think about this. This happened during the entire whole thing with the spiral heating up and showing it, and then all of a sudden these two light anomalies look like they're shooting into the, I don't know if it was the spiral area. I thought it seemed to me that it was a little bit to the west of the spiral area, to the left.
I agree.
But still, I mean, what's your thought?
They looked huge to be going into the mesa like that.
Yeah.
And I feel like that lake or that reservoir, I'd be curious to know where that lines
Bottle
up.
Hollow.
Yeah, I'm curious to know where Bottle Hollow lines up with where those went in. Because earlier in the season, we had the DJ, the Res DJ. He had his picture while he was at the lake, and just looking at Google Maps, like I think, to me, I've always felt the lake is part of things going in and out of the mesa. So I right away was thinking, where's the lake in relation to those orbs? And I call them orbs just because they, on the FLIR camera, they looked like big, giant, hot orbs with like tails, streaks.
Yeah. What do you folks think about that? I mean, yeah, let me know. What do you think, Shannon?
I don't know what I think. honestly, about this one.
That's a great answer.
I've seen some really weird things myself, and it reminds me of something that I've seen before, and I didn't know what to think of it then. I don't know what to think. I feel like I can observe it and say like, this is weird. But outside of that, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know, Seth. I love it when I say things and I can just tell Seth is thinking.
Yeah. I'm going to show the clip, and it is while the guys were playing, because there they are down there in the bottom. They're playing, and then watch what happens right above them, directly above them, as the camera slowly zooms in. Zip.
Ooh.
And the guys are like, "What? Play that again." Zip.
And it clearly goes behind the Mesa line, even the trail. And that one kind of goes,
like that
the
straight
one
line.
goes in and then.
But they look like they're not solid.
Exactly. Could they be because they're covered in that not frictionless bubble that allows them to pass in, and that's the way the FLIR camera picked it up?
Right.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
Plasma.
Now, we don't see that so much as a anomaly flying by in the sky, coming up, showing up like that. But I thought maybe it had something to do with the camera, that it was showing it like a fireball. And
I don't know.
Portal.
I feel like these things could all be the same thing, just in different. I don't know if I have a good way to explain it, but outside of like water changing, right? Like it can be ice and vapor and liquid, but it's all the same thing. Mm-hmm. I think that's kind of how I viewed some of this stuff, is that it can take different form. It can take different forms, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's a different thing. Mm-hmm. So like when we see these, what may look like nuts and bolts type of UAP or whatever, is it possible that it's also that as well? Is that why we don't see nuts and bolts UAP if it is something that's not man-made? Even if it is, I guess, if our technology is that far advanced and we just don't know it. I don't have enough information to make any type of assessment with that.
We just don't, unfortunately. You're right.
But like, is that why we don't see them unless we've got specific, right? I mean, that would be so easy to miss. Like you would never see that unless you have maybe certain circumstances or in certain places, certain cameras.
Yep.
Like I said, I've seen something like that under a particular camera before. Mm-hmm. And you can't, it's weird. I don't know.
Yeah. Do you guys remember, did either of you see, and please somebody pop in and tell me if I'm not thinking of the right movie name, but there was a movie years ago of a young lad who was able to be part of a spacecraft. I think it was Flight of the Navigator or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was a silvery ball of spacecraft that could change shapes.
And the way it would show him what he was flying over was really cool. It just opened up, right? He could totally see the ground, and it was super silvery, and it could shift and morph, and
that's what I'm thinking we're dealing with, something like that.
Didn't the ship have a pretty good sense of humor too? It had a trickster sort of attitude almost.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What a great reference. That's a good movie.
Yeah, see you later, Navigator.
See you later, Navigator.
So I mean, is it possible that it was something like that? That when I see these UAPs flying, they look like the ball flying through the air. I'm thinking something like that can morph and change shapes.
Yes. Yeah. It reminds me of, I think there was a South American pilot. I forget what country, Colombia, maybe. I don't know. But there was a recent UAP video that looked like that sort of like silvery thing where you see like a shifting. Here I am making wings again. But it has little wings, but they kind of like more.
Yeah,
one,
I mean, it's
yeah.
interesting. I wish that we could reference. I wish we could talk about that previous video from like 2 weeks ago too, because you see a lot of change happening with that one thing.
Yep.
So is it? I don't know.
Yeah.
I suppose anything is possible because we don't know anything.
Exactly. And that's what, that's just it. That's why writers, love to, like Travis with his books. That's why people who write books like that, fiction books, like to write stuff about space and other planets and other peoples, because it's endless what you can come up with, because we just don't know.
That is very true. But the drums definitely did something.
They did something.
Yeah,
Absolutely. I agree. They did something. Yes.
Yeah, they absolutely did something. And I think, and we know that the rabbi did something as well.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. And when they were when the Blazing Bear was telling Travis that they had decided they were going to leave, I thought it was, my ears perked up because Dragon said, well, we want to have you back again. So let's get you out of here. And I thought, ooh, maybe we'll see them. I don't know if we'll see them again this season, but that excited me. I'm like, yes, please come back.
Yeah. I hope so.
Yeah, me too.
I like that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the science too. Not quotation marks. I don't know why I did that. The science. I like science too.
Science. No,
this science.
Science.
But this stuff I really, really like. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's the perfect combination, right? We can capture the reactions to these intentional experiments or more spiritual, and then we can get the measurable results with the science. So this episode was what I've really been like wanting to have, this merge of the spirit and science.
Yeah, I agree. And I like that there was music involved.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, time, again, we talk about how important time is, and music is how we. There's a really cool quote I read earlier where it was like, music is how we paint time.
Yeah, I mean, I think music is the closest thing we have to a time machine for sure. I mean, you can hear a song and you can literally go back to a memory in your mind. Like I could play a song right now from when I was 20 years old or 15 years old, and it would take me back to that time in my mind.
And you can feel the things you felt during that time as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's a deep sort of emotional resonance with some songs, and I do think about that. It's like, and what's even cooler is the fact that we're at the beginning of recorded music. Like the last 150, I think it's like 150 maybe years. I mean, I know that they've found things that they've been able to figure out what the sound of it is, but like recorded music, we're at the beginning of history, of visual recordings, of audio recordings, like forever, whether it's good or bad, we're literally the origin story of it. And when you think about that, it's like we're telling a story with our music that is almost, it's part of our folklore that's being carried forward. I don't know if I want, it's kind of, right? Like they'll be able to, whomever, if it's accessible, be able to tell a lot about us as humans based on our music. But I don't know, it's magic. I think, music is magic if there is something.
Music is universal. Yeah, absolutely. It truly is. And I think that, and I was so glad, and I mentioned, like I said, I mentioned this last year in one of the Q&As or the chips and salsa they did. I brought that up. I said, hey, have you guys ever thought about bringing out a drum circle out of, and nothing was ever said. And I thought, well, that was a dumb idea, I guess. But but then you think about like Chris said, the folks, the locals that are, very well aware of the whole Skinwalker thing do not want to have anything to do with it. They don't want, and we saw the fire marshal come out, and I've forgotten his name, but, and he didn't want to say the word even. So think about that. And I respect them all for that. Highly respect them for that. So they had to, but bringing out a drum circle, I thought, man, oh man, you combine that together with those who, like you said, Shannon, created the spiral, who created the pictographs on the rock to indicate that there was something happening here. Why not bring them out to see if they want? And they're like, the locals are like, no, that's okay. Have fun with that. Or
You're like, we don't want to activate this thing.
we don't want to aggravate or have anything to do with, opening some kind of portal that you may be opening. I respect them. I'm telling you.
For sure.
John Mitchell, thank you, Jim. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. Wow. So this was an awesome episode. I knew that it was going to run 2 hours trying to get through this thing, but it was truly, truly a good episode, I thought. And I think, like I said, about 10 times already tonight, that I think the guys are getting closer and closer to figuring out exactly what stick to use to poke the hornet's nest.
A drumstick.
A drumstick. Yes, nice one.
That was great.
Sorry, I couldn't contain myself with that.
All right, there it is. Yeah. Yes, a drumstick, because it's that sound frequency around 200 hertz that may be the key. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. So last couple minutes, folks, what do you think? I mean, was this an awesome episode? What was your highlight of the episode? If you want to chat in real quick before we close up. Was it the orbs at the end that went into the Mesa? Was it the UAP, or what we think was a UAP that flew by? Was it just simply the drums coming out and the stone spiral heating up? I mean, so much was packed into this episode. Truly, truly was. Or did you think the highlight was the darn drill breaking down and getting, that's it for drilling for the season? I don't know. Drums and orbs, baby. Yes, April, I agree. Yep. Drums and orbs.
Yeah. For me, it's all about the drums, the stone circle lighting up.
Same. Yeah, mine's definitely the spiral and the drums.
Yeah, me too. That was it for me as well. Yeah, I think everybody's unanimous on that one for sure. So, wow, another good episode. Folks, I tell you what, please, if you like the content of the show we put out here tonight, please give us a thumbs up. And I talked about the comments. Unfortunately, the comments, we get like 900 comments during the show. And that's why Linda is just like ready to pull her hair out when the show is over, simply because there are. More native connections need to be corroborated. Yes, I agree, Chris Martell. You betcha. But unfortunately, these chat messages don't figure into the algorithm during the live show. The ones that come after are the ones that really show up. Why is that care to them? But it does. So give us a thumbs up if you like the content of the show we had here tonight. And I got to tell you, Shannon and Seth, you guys are awesome. I really do appreciate it. Will you guys come back next week?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right.
You're stuck with me. No, I'm kidding.
All right.
Same.
Yeah.
I'm dedicated to distracting from the
that's going to give you two again next week, Shannon. You're going to be on Monday with Michelle Stratton, and coming on Monday for Insiders Insights at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. You guys are not going to want to miss that one. Bring a glass of wine because, I'm just gonna introduce them, and then I sit back and sip wine and let you guys go. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
I'll be in the chat, chatting it up with the everybody else. I'm excited.
Make sure you get some really good questions for them too, Seth.
Oh gosh.
Absolutely.
Folks, if you're going to watch Monday night, come with your questions. All right. Yeah. And then next week, we're going to be talking about episode number 11 next Friday night. And also then on Thursday night, and Jim, if he wants to, he can join us again for Beyond Skinwalker Ranch for next week. So what do you think, Jim? You want to do it? You up for that? So, all right, folks, thank you so much for being here with us tonight. We really do appreciate it. And as always, keep the questions coming and keep the comments coming. I'll bring the Mountain Dew. All right, not a wine guy anymore. Okay, all right.
Mountain Dew Baja?
What is it?
Mountain Dew Baja?
Yeah, what was the one he had? What was that flavor? Was that him?
Yeah, I think so. He was telling us how good it was. It was maybe it was a new one.
A new Mountain Dew. Might go along with these ketchup potato
chips
Yeah, the ketchup
chips.
Yeah, they're ketchup. That's the
from
flavor.
Canada.
I got those up in Canada. That was given to me as a bag of chips, and I haven't opened it. I haven't tried them, but ketchup flavored Lay's potato chips.
Well, I mean, we dip our French fries in ketchup and
Right.
the potatoes.
I mean, my husband dips his chips in ketchup sometimes.
Really?
Grant, he lived in Canada for a while, so I wonder if that's where it came from.
why he likes
I've never asked him. I normally am just like, gross. Maybe I should ask him though. That's funny.
Yeah.
Purple passion fruit. Oh, that's what he had last night.
Purple passion fruit. I'm gonna try that one.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yuck, yuck, yuck. Yeah. I don't know. I haven't cracked open the bag yet. I may not ever. I might just keep it as a prop for the rest.
Well, make sure you live stream so we can. That's a whole. You know,
you got my buddy too.
You can do what is it? The ASMR where you bite into the chip.
I hate I'm like part of the small group of people. I hate ASMR. Ugh.
Oh, that's cool.
What is that?
This is a what do they call these, Linda? Again, pop in if you want to come up there real quick as we close out. There was Karen's sister makes these. It was Karen's sister, I believe, right? That makes these.
It's a gnome. Yeah, her twin sister.
Yeah, it's a gnome.
I thought it was.
She had one that was called the Bobby Dazzler. If you're an Oak Island fan, you know what Bobby Dazzler means. She had one called Bobby Dazzler, and Bobby got burned up a bit in a fire. And then she had another one that was called Billy Dazzler, and this is Junior Dazzler. So yeah, so now I have my own Junior Dazzler.
Those are top pocket finds.
Those are top pocket finds for sure. Yeah. So yeah, I got my own Nomi there. Yeah. That cool. Somebody gave me that bottle of Crown Royal up there. I am not a dark liquor drinker, but
that's what you could be drinking on Monday.
Yes, I could be sipping on some Crown, right?
And eating your Lay's, your ketchup.
Eating my ketchup Lay's.
Ketchup chips at Crown time.
Then you'd be watching me go.
All
right. As we really go down a bad place right now, thank you folks for being here with us tonight. Have a good night. We'll catch you next time right here on the JFree906 podcast.
Good night.
Night.